Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh. Kita mulakan kelas kita pada pagi ini dengan membaca umur kita Al-Fatihah. A'udzubillahi minasyaitonirrajim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Arrahmanirrahim. Maliki yaumiddin. Iyyaka na'budu wa iyyaka nasta'in. Ihdinas siratal mustaqim. Shiratal ladzina an'amta 'alaihim ghairil maghdubi 'alaihim. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Alhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Salatu wassalamu ala sayyidina Muhammadin asyrafil anbiya'i wal mursalin wa ala alihi wa sahbihi ajma'in. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, ampunilah dosa-dosa kami, ampunilah dosa kedua ibu bapa kami dan kasihkan mereka sebagaimana mereka mengasihi. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, kurniakanlah kepada kami ilmu yang bermanfaat bagi diri kami, keluarga kami, agama kami, bangsa kami dan negara kami. Ya Allah, ya Tuhan kami, berikan kepada kami kejayaan di dunia dan di akhirat. Jadikanlah kami orang-orang yang syukur. Rabbana atina fid dunya hasanah wa fil akhirati hasanah wa qina adzabannar. Walhamdulillahirabbil alamin. Bila kita bersyukur kepada Allah Subhanahu wa taala pada pada siang, pada pagi ini kita dapat meneruskan kelas kita untuk minggu yang ketiga, dan ini adalah kelas yang kelima dan kita berada pada tajuk yang kedua pada hari ini. Okay. Jadi untuk hari ini, sebelum kita mulakan tajuk yang kedua, kita cek dulu attendance. Cek attendance. Hari ini 31 3. Okay. Ainin Safiah ada? Tak ada. Alisa Cahaya.
Ada, sir.
Ilya Insyirah. Tak ada. Imanina Kaisara. Tak ada. Muhammad Hazriman.
Ada, sir.
Okay. Muhammad Hairul.
Ada, sir.
Okay. Muhammad Danish.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Najia Elisa. Tak ada. Nur Aisyah. Tak ada. Nur Alia Najwa.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Nur Elisa Batis. Tak ada. Nur Hazira.
Ya, sir.
Ada?
Ada.
Nur Hazira Izlin.
Saya, sir.
Nur Nisa.
Ya, sir.
Okay. Nur Syafia.
Saya, sir.
Nurain Nabiha. Tak ada. Nurin Arisha. Tak ada. Nurul Aini Najwa.
Saya, sir.
Nurul Najiha.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Syazwani Auni.
Saya, sir.
Siti Nur Farhana.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Siti Nurain Syuhada.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Amira Yusma.
Saya, sir.
Batrisha Aiman. Tak ada. Irdina Dayana. Tak ada. Nur Syafiqah.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Nurul Iza.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Syarifah Nur Batrisha.
Saya, sir.
Okay.
Sir.
Syahira.
Minta maaf, saya Najia baru masuk. Najia Elisa.
Najia. Okay.
Sir,
Ya.
saya Ilya Insyirah baru masuk.
Ilya Insyirah. Okay. Syahira ada? Syahira? Tak ada. Nurul Amani.
Saya, sir.
Okay. Nur Izzati ada?
Saya, sir.
Okay. Ada nama saya tak sebut?
Sir Irdina Dayana, line dia slow.
Irdina Dayana. Apa nama penuhnya?
Irdina Dayana.
Irdina Dayana. Irdina Dayana. Tak ada pun nama. Nama penuh Irdina ni apa? Okey.
Irdina Dayana binti.
Kat bawah nama dia. Ada lagi?
Patricia Aiman, sir.
Patricia Aiman. Okey, jadi cari Okey, kita masuk tajuk yang kedua iaitu biological asset. Okey, boleh nampak slide ni?
Boleh sir.
Boleh ya. Okey. So, we are learning accounting, and accounting is actually based on Malaysian Financial Reporting Standards. Okay, so when we learn about intangible asset, we also almost the same picture. And now we learn about agriculture, we also have to show almost the same picture, whereby this is the framework for agriculture. Okay, so we can see from here, whatever we learn about intangible asset, we learn about the agriculture, we have to learn about the definition, okay, and also recognition. So, biological asset or agriculture can be divided into biological asset and also agricultural produce. Okay, biological asset as well as agricultural produce. There are two different types. And then recognition. For the recognition criteria are control. Okay, the value or cost can be measured reliably as well as future economic benefit. For the criteria, that we have recognized, okay, there will be initial measurement as well as subsequent measurement. Yeah. For the initial measurement, it will be based on the fair value less cost to sell. Yeah, fair value less cost to sell. For the subsequent measurement, also fair value less cost to sell. Okay, so basically, this is the framework that we are going to learn throughout the second topic. Yeah. Okay. Agriculture in financial accounting and reporting refers to biological asset. So when we say accounting for agriculture, it means we are referring to accounting for biological asset. So what are the biological asset? Biological assets such as plants and animals. Plants, pokok. Animals, haiwan. And also agricultural produce such as milk, egg, and nuts. Yeah. Agricultural activity is the management of the biological transformation of biological asset through different phases. The main issues covered by the standard are: number one, recognition of biological asset and agricultural produce. Number two, measurement of biological asset and agricultural produce. And number three, the accounting treatment of the transformation process. Okay, when we talk about biological transformation, okay, the biological transformation will result in growth, procreation, and or degeneration. Okay, growth. What is growth?
Sir.
Ya.
Sorry ganggu. Tapi slide saya tak bergerak.
Tak bergerak? Okay, thank you for telling. Tengok kenapa tidak bergerak Kenapa tidak bergerak. Sekarang ni kita berada muka surat berapa according to your screen?
Tadi dekat screen start dekat first slide tu.
First slide saja. Okay. Sekarang ni masih first slide.
Sekarang ni tak share screen.
Tak share screen. Oh. Okay. Mana boleh tak share pula ya? Okay, saya berada pada muka surat yang keempat. Nampak
Nampak saya.
Okey. Adakah skrin menunjukkan muka surat 4?
Betul tu.
Okey. Saya ulang baliklah kalau gitu. Daripada the first page tu. This is the title, Agriculture and Authorized 141. And this is the framework for agriculture. Kita ada biological asset, kita ada agricultural produce, dan kita ada definition, recognition and measurement. Okay. Definition is the name. Okay. Measurement is the figure. So the measurement will be initial measurement and subsequent measurement. Under the initial measurement, the biological asset will be measured at fair value less cost to sell. Whereas for subsequent measurement also, it is fair value less cost to sell. Okay, agriculture. Agriculture in financial accounting and reporting refers to biological asset such as plants and animals and agricultural produce such as milk, eggs and latex. Okay, jadi agricultural produce contohnya apa? Susu, telur, susu getah. Okay, biological asset pula such as plants, animals. But not all plants are biological asset, not all animals are biological asset. Okay, agricultural activity is the management of the biological transformation of biological asset through different phases. So there are a few phases. Okay, for example, when we talk about an animal, when we talk about an animal, it will start with when the animal was born. When the animal was born, and then the animal will grow. 1 year, 2 year, 3 years, and then it can be sold. Okay, itu adalah contoh transformation dia. Agricultural activity is the management of biological transformation of biological assets through different phases. The main issues covered by this standard are: number 1, recognition of biological asset and agricultural produce. Number 2, measurement of biological asset and agricultural produce. And number 3, the accounting treatment of the transformation process. Biological transformation involves 3 processes. The first one is growth. What is growth? Growth means increase in size. Increase in size. From small to big. So kalau kita tengok lembu ke kerbau ke kambing, daripada masa dia dilahirkan, lepas dia meningkat menjadi 1 year old, 2 year old, 3 year old, okay, nanti it can be slaughtered. And then increase in quantity also growth. Increase in quantity, and also improvement in quality also growth. Number 2, procreation. Procreation means creation of new additional living plant and animals. Okay. Kalau kita tanam pokok, pokok tadi akan membiak. Okay. Kalau kita ada haiwan, ternakan, haiwan ternakan tadi akan membiak juga. Daripada 2 jadi 3, jadi 4 dan seterusnya. Kemudian yang ketiga adalah degeneration. Degeneration. What is degeneration? It is deterioration in quality or decrease in quantity. Degeneration. Definitions. Number 1, agricultural activity. What is agricultural activity? Agricultural activity is the management by an entity. The management by an entity of the biological transformation of biological asset for sale or into agricultural produce or into additional biological asset. So it means it is the management.
Sir.
Ah.
Sorry ganggu lagi.
Ya.
Slide
Slide
tak gerak.
Tak gerak lagi?
Sir.
Kenapa dia boleh? Dia tidak bergerak ya. So dia berada di surat berapa sekarang?
Slide 4.
Oh, surat 4. Nah, surat ni. Masa kita pakai Teams tu tak ada masalah Mana dia boleh berhenti sendiri. Okey, sekarang surat 5.
Still slide 4.
Sir.
Ha.
Okey, dah gerak dah.
Okey, nampaknya saya tak payah nak apa ni, slide show lah Kita pakai slide aja lah, tak ada show lah Okey, agaknya kalau pakai slide saja dia boleh bergerak. Okey. So agricultural activity just now is the management by an entity of the biological transformation of biological asset for sale. Okey. Maknanya kita bela binatang untuk tujuan untuk dijual ataupun untuk dapatkan agricultural produce. Nanti kita akan tengok what is agricultural produce or into additional biological asset. Okey. Terus seterusnya, what is agricultural produce? It is the harvested product of the entity biological asset. Okey. Contohnya apa? Contohnya susu daripada lembu. Susu daripada lembu. Ataupun daging semasa lembu disembelih. Ataupun kambing disembelih. Ataupun buah-buahan daripada pokok. Buah-buahan daripada pokok itu dipanggil agricultural produce. Okay. What about biological asset? Biological asset, it is a living animal or living plant. Haiwan yang hidup dan juga pokok yang hidup. Okay. Haiwan yang hidup dan juga pokok yang hidup. Jadi kalau kata haiwan tadi dah mati, lembu mati, dia bukan biological asset. Pokok mati bukan biological asset. Syarat dia living animal or living plant. Alright. Okay, kita tengok yang berikutnya. Okay, pernah tengok gambar ni? Apa ni? Adakah slide bergerak?
Bergerak sir.
Okey. Ni pokok apa?
Pokok getah.
Pokok getah dan susu getah. Okey, pokok getah dan susu getah. Okey. Pokok getah dan susu getah. Susu getah tu, okey, kita panggil latex. Dia adalah agricultural produce. Agricultural produce. Manakala pokok dia. Pokok dia adakah dia biological asset? Okay. Before 2016, rubber tree is categorized under biological asset. Itu sebelum 2016. Selepas 2016 ada amendment, rubber tree become property, plant and equipment. Rubber tree become property, plant and equipment. So kat sini ada dua item. Yang pertamanya adalah property, plant equipment, rubber tree. Yang kedua adalah latex. Dia adalah agricultural produce. Dia punya produce masih kekal sebagai agricultural produce, tetapi pokok dia dah jadi property, plant and equipment, bukan biological asset. Okay. We go through the second picture. Biasa tengok ni.
Biasa.
Biasa. Pokok kelapa sawit dan buah kelapa sawit. Oil palm tree and palm oil, fruit. Okay. Oil palm tree. Oil palm tree. Is it a biological asset? Pokok kelapa sawit. Is it a biological asset?
Yes.
Prior to 2016, it is a biological asset. But after that, it becomes property, plant and equipment. Okay, nanti kita kena tahulah kenapa dia ada kenapa dia berubah daripada biological asset dia menjadi property, plant, equipment ni. Sebab the nature of the tree itu fulfill the definition of property, plant and equipment. Jadi ada pokok-pokok tertentu yang telah bertukar status dia from biological asset to property, plant and equipment. Jadi kat sini sekarang ni the tree is property, plant, equipment, and the fruit is agricultural produce. Gambar yang ketiga. Kenal siapa ni?
Kena lembu.
Lembu dan anak lembu. Okay. Are they biological asset or property, plant, equipment? Okay, jawapan dia adalah biological asset. Biological asset ni. Lembu tidak masuk sebagai property, plant, equipment. Okay, untuk menjadi property, plant, equipment, dia kena lembu yang digunakan untuk menarik kayu balak contohnya. Dia jadi property, plant, equipment. Kan? Lembu yang akan membawa gerabak. Lembu yang membawa gerabak untuk angkat buah kelapa sawit. Itu property, plant, equipment. Tetapi lembu yang dibela untuk menghasilkan daging ataupun susu, itu dipanggil sebagai biological asset. So yang ni kita kena clear lah. We have to be clear on what is biological asset, what is property, plant, equipment, what is agricultural produce. Okay, we go to the next page. Okay, saya cuba start show. Saya cuba. Tapi kalau tak bergerak, bagi tahu lagi. Okay, biological transformation. Is it page 9?
Yes, sir.
Okay, biological transformation, it comprises the process of growth, regeneration, production, procreation that cause qualitative and quantitative changes in a biological asset. Not only quantitative changes, but also qualitative changes. That is biological transformation. Ada berapa aktiviti? Ada growth, regeneration, production, procreation. Okay, ini definition. Okay, next, definition of harvest. What is harvest? Harvest, kalau dalam bahasa Melayu kadang kita sebut petik. Kan? Petik kelapa sawit, petik kelapa, petik nenas. Kita sebut petik. Tapi itu bahasa Melayu lah. Ataupun kadang kita, kalau susu lembu, kita tak panggil petik susu, panggil perah susu. Tapi itu adalah harvest. Buah kelapa sawit, kita tanggalkan buah kelapa sawit daripada pokok kelapa sawit, itu pun harvest juga. Susu getah, kita tak tanggalkan susu getah daripada pokok getah. Susu getah keluar daripada pokok getah. Itu pun kita panggil harvest. So, it is the detachment of produce. Detachment of produce from a biological asset or cessation of a biological asset life process. Jadi maknanya detachment tadi sama ada kita tanggalkan, kita perah, kita keluarkan susu dan sebagainya, ataupun cessation of life. Kita tamatkan riwayat. Kita tamatkan riwayat hidup dia, sama ada dia adalah haiwan ataupun pokok tadi. Jadi maknanya itu kita panggil harvest. Kita panggil harvest. Okey, apa pokok yang kita boleh tamatkan riwayat dia untuk jadi harvest? pokok kayu balak. Pokok kayu balak, kita tanam pokok kayu balak, kemudian kita potong, kita tebang. Jadi kita sebagai harvest. Ataupun lembu. Lembu yang kita sembelih. Kita tamatkan riwayat dia. Kita sembelih, itu dipanggil harvest juga. Harvest. A group of biological assets. It is an aggregation of similar living animals or plants. Jadi bila kita ada biological asset dalam kita punya statement of financial position, kita akan tunjukkan dia sebagai biological asset. So kita akan tengok nanti example apabila dalam company tadi ada biological asset. Ada biological asset. And then apa? Cost to sell. What is cost to sell? The incremental cost directly attributable to the disposal of an asset excluding finance cost and income tax. Contohnya upah untuk menjual. Upah untuk menjual itu adalah cost to sell. Upah untuk menjual. Next. Page 10. Ataupun tidak bergerak.
Still dekat page 9 sir.
Kita memang tak boleh nak gunakan lagi. Page 10 So, sekarang berada pada page 10. Okay, consumable biological asset. What are consumable biological assets? Those that are to be harvested as agricultural produce or sold as biological asset. Jadi, kalau dia haiwan ataupun pokok, as long as before it was sold, it has to be harvested. Those that are to be harvested as agricultural produce or sold as biological asset, they are consumable biological asset. Example, livestock intended for production of meat. Intended for the production of meat. Daripada lembu, tujuan dia untuk kita sembelih dan kita jual lagi. That is example of consumable biological asset. What else? Livestock held for sale. Okay, bela lembu, tetapi kita tak sembelih sendiri. Kita jual lembu dan jual daging. Next, fish in farms. Fish in farms. Kita bela ikan di dalam kolam. That is consumable biological asset. Crops. Okay, tumbuh-tumbuhan, pokok. Crops, such as maize and wheat. Ini apa? Jagung, Jagung ke? Dan gandum. Produce on barrel plant. Jadi barrel plant tadi, contoh barrel plant adalah apa namanya tadi, pokok getah, rubber tree, oil palm tree. Trees being grown for lumber. Pokok yang ditanam untuk kita ambil kayu dia. Itu adalah consumable biological asset. Next. Okay. Saya akan cuba tayangkan dia besar sikit. Okay, biological asset, agricultural produce, product that are the result of the processing after harvest. Okay, kita tengok Kita tengok yang warna merah dulu. Cotton plants, tea bushes, grape vines, fruit trees, oil palms, and rubber trees usually meet the definition of barrel plant under MFRS 116. However, their produce are within the scope of MFRS 141. Kita tengok kat sini. Okey, contoh lama adalah biological asset, ada sheep. Apa sheep? Ada biri-biri. Trees in timber plantation. Dairy cattle, pigs, cotton plants, sugarcane, tobacco plants, tea bushes, grapevines, fruit tree, oil palms, rubber tree. Okay. Jadi daripada banyak-banyak contoh biological asset ni, sheep kekal sebagai biological asset. Tree in timber plantation, biological asset. Dairy cattle, biological asset. Pig, biological asset. Cotton plant. Cotton plant adalah property plant equipment. What about sugar cane? Pokok tebu. Pokok tebu adalah biological asset. Tobacco plant. Tobacco plant. Biological asset. Tea bushes. Pokok teh adalah property plant equipment. Grapevine, property plant equipment. Fruit tree, property plant equipment. Oil palms, property plant equipment. Dan rubber tree, property plant and equipment. Okay. The detachment from the biological asset or property plant equipment, for example, sheep, dia punya agricultural produce wool. Tetapi apabila dia telah menjadi karpet, when it become a carpet, it is not agricultural produce. It is a product. Biological asset and agricultural produce is under MFRS 141. But product is under MFRS 102. 102 ni apa? 102 adalah
Inventory.
Inventory. Jadi yarn and carpet, inventory. Walaupun asalnya daripada wool, tapi it has been processed. It become an inventory. Okay. Trees in timber plantation. Trees in the timber plantation. When we cut the tree, the felled tree become agricultural produce. Maknanya pokok yang tumbang saja dia jadi agricultural produce. Agricultural produce. But after it has been processed, it become logs and lumber. Jadi tiang, jadi papan, dan sebagainya. Dia bukan lagi agricultural produce, tetapi dia inventory. Jadi kata, lembu susu. Jadi kata lembu susu, milk. Milk is agricultural produce. Milk yang diperah itu adalah agricultural produce. Tapi bila transform into cheese, ataupun susu yang telah dibotolkan ataupun telah dimasukkan dalam tin, itu adalah produk. Produk di bawah MFRS 102, inventory. Pigs, itu juga. Jadi selepas disembelih saja, dia adalah agricultural produce, tetapi bila dah telah diproses, dia menjadi produk. Cotton plants. Harvested cotton, kita tuai saja cotton, dia adalah agricultural produce. But when it transform into thread and clothing, it is product. Sugar cane, kita potong saja pokok tebu, dia akan jadi agricultural produce. Bila diproses jadi gula, dia adalah inventory. Begitu juga yang bawah-bawah lah. Tobacco, fig leaf, jug tobacco, tea bushes, fig leaf, tea. Jadi teh, yang telah menjadi teh itu adalah produk. Tapi fig leaf, daun yang dituai ataupun dipetik itu masih lagi agricultural produce. Begitu juga dengan grapevines, mari bila kita petik saja, dia masih lagi agricultural produce. Tapi bila telah transform menjadi minuman, dia adalah produk. Fruit tree, sama juga oil palm, sama juga rubber tree pun begitu juga. Jadi setelah diproses, dia akan jadi products. Sebelum proses, dia adalah agricultural produce. So kadang-kadang dalam soalan dia akan tanya, please identify whether this is a biological asset or agricultural produce. So we must be able to identify. Alright. Next page. Recognition. Recognition ni apa? Kenal pasti. Biological asset and agricultural produce are recognized only when number one, the entity has control over the asset as a result of past event. Okay? It is just like any other asset, we must have the control over the asset. We purchase a property, we must have the control over the property. We purchase motor vehicle, we must have the control over the motor vehicle. to purchase inventory, you must have the control over the inventory. So the entity has control over the asset as a result of past event. Past event can be a transaction, it can be a real event. Orang bagi. Okay? Ataupun kalau lembu yang beranak. Lembu yang beranak, deliver baby, itu pun dia sebagai event juga. Ataupun yang number 2, it is probable that economic benefit associated with the asset will flow to the entity. Yeah. This is related to any other asset also. Yeah. Probable that economic benefit associated with the asset will flow to the entity. Number 3, the cost of fair value of the agriculture of the biological asset can be measured reliably. And number 4, control. The company must be able to control the asset. This can be evidenced by legal ownership. Economic benefit may be in the form of physical growth. Physical growth itu adalah economic benefit. Kalau katakan lembu tadi baru lahir, berat dia 10 kg. Selepas berumur 6 bulan, berat dia naik jadi 40 kg. Jadi sebanyak 30 kg naik. That is a physical growth and it constitutes economic benefit. Next, measurement. Measurement of biological asset. The biological asset are measured initially at each reporting date at fair value less cost to sell. Fair value less cost to sell. Where the fair value cannot be measured reliably initially, the asset is measured at cost less any accumulated depreciation, less any impairment losses. That is for biological asset. For biological asset, it will be measured at fair value less cost to sell. Agricultural produce. For agricultural produce that are harvested from biological asset, the measurement is at fair value less cost to sell also at the point of harvest. At the point of harvest. So kita petik kelapa sawit. Okay, berapakah nilai kelapa sawit? Dia adalah fair value less cost to sell. Berapakah nilai susu getah? At fair value less cost to sell. The cost to sell are the incremental costs directly attributable to the disposal of the asset. It does not include finance cost and income tax. Factors to consider in determining the fair value of the biological asset. A. Grouping them according to the significant attribute like age group or quality. Okay. So for example, we have a lot of apa kita panggil cattle, a lot of cattle. A lot of cattle. Kalau dairy cattle ni adalah lembu susu. Kalau cattle saja, kadang kita panggil cow, kadang kita panggil cattle. Okay, jadi kalau cow tadi, masa dia baby ataupun newly born, kita panggil apa? Kita panggil calf. Kita panggil calf, CLF, calf. Kita boleh panggil calf untuk cattle, untuk cow. Okey. Jadi kalau baby yang baru dilahirkan, baby lembu tadi, kita akan grupkan dia mengikut contohnya di antara 0 hingga 3 bulan. Di antara 0 hingga 3 bulan, kita akan grupkan dia sebagai satu grup. Okay. Grouping according to their significant attribute like age or group quality. Number 2, fair value is determined independently. Fair value is determined independently. Maknanya fair value tadi adalah berdasarkan kepada harga pasaran. Harga pasaran. Maknanya kalau lembu tadi kita tengok harga lembu di pasaran. Existence of an active market. Existence of an active market. So kalau kita beli lembu yang biasa, adalah pasaran lembu. Tapi kalau kita beli lembu yang tidak ada pasaran, kita kena gunakan cost lah. Kita gunakan cost because we cannot find the fair value of the cow in the market. Ya. Jadi kalau no active market, kita pakai cost less accumulated depreciation. Kemudian kalau no active market, in present condition of the asset, the market exists, but there is no active market for present condition of the asset. Contohnya dalam pasarannya ada anak-anak lembu saja. Ataupun daripada anak lembu sampai lembu umur 4 tahun. Tapi kita ada lembu yang umur 7 tahun. 7 tahun. So, when there is no active market in present condition, kita kena gunakan cost lah. Kita gunakan cost. Dan last page untuk ni, gain and losses. Gain and losses. Okay. Biological asset, gain or loss on biological asset will arise due to changes in fair value, less cost to sell between reporting date and initial recognition of biological asset at fair value, less cost to sell, for example, when a calf is born. Jadi a calf is born, it is considered as a fair value gain. Lahir saja dikira sebagai fair value gain. Kan? Contohnya apa? Semalam kita ada 2 ekor lembu. Satu jantan, satu betina. Lembu betina bunting. Kemudian hari ini kita ada 3 ekor lembu. Sebab apa? Sebab lembu betina telah bersalin. Jadi kita ada 1 ekor lembu tambahan. Jadi tambahan tadi, anak lembu tadi adalah calf. So, calf tadi dikira sebagai gain, fair value gain. Dikira sebagai fair value gain. Sebab semalam tak ada. Tiba-tiba hari ini ada. All these gain and losses are recognized as income in the statement of profit or loss for the year ataupun for the period. Dan last sekali, agricultural produce, gain or loss will arise on initial recognition of the produce. The gain or loss is the fair value less cost to sell. The gain or loss is recognized in the statement of profit or loss in the period of harvest. Okay, in the period of harvest. Okay. Ada apa persoalan setakat ni kelas? Jadi nota dia tak banyak lah. Tapi selepas daripada ni kita akan ada satu example yang kita tengok. Bukan satu example lah, a few examples. Ada tak apa persoalan nak tanya seperti itu?
Tak ada, sir.
Okay, kalau tak ada, kita pergi kepada yang berikutnya. Berikutnya kita akan share presentation. Okey, so ini adalah satu nota untuk kita faham ataupun tidak faham dengan situation ni. Jadi sebab a company, the company name is Agribis Berhad. Agribis Berhad. Agribis Berhad is public company in Janda Baik, Pahang. The company was incorporated 15 years ago. It has diversified its operation into many sectors in order to stay competitive and relevant in the agriculture industry. Okay, so it has oil palm plantation, fruit farming, petting zoo, fish farm, ada 4 aktiviti dia. Okay, kita pergi yang pertama, oil palm plantation. The primary business activity of the company was oil palm plantation. The expected return from the oil palm plantation is 30 years, and it has been harvested since the last 12 years. A matured oil palm tree will produce fruits that grow in dense bunches. each weighing between 10 to 25 kilograms. Each ripe bunch is commonly known as fresh fruit bunch, FFB. And once it ripens, the fruit will turn bright red-orange, indicating that it's ready to be harvested. Okay. So persoalannya, adakah ini biological asset? Is it a biological asset? Oil palm plantation. Oil palm plantation, is it biological asset?
Plantation.
Is it biological asset? The oil palm tree is not biological asset. It is bearer plant, considered ataupun categorized as property, plant and equipment. But for the FFB, fresh fruit bunches, it is agricultural produce that is categorized as item in the MFRS 141, biological asset. Agricultural produce tapi masih berada di dalam MFRS 141, ya. Okey. Tetapi dia pokok tadi property, plant, equipment MFRS 116. Okey. Jadi dia bukan biological asset tapi dia property, plant, equipment. Pada masa yang sama dia ada agricultural produce yang termasuk di dalam kategori MFRS 141. Number 2, fruit farming. Agribis Berhad also involved in fruit farming. Currently, the company plants dragon fruit tree and banana tree. The dragon fruit and banana will be harvested when they are mature and will be sold to the locals. The fruit farm is open for the public during the picking season. The locals can enjoy eating the fresh fruits while picking the fruit for a minimal amount of fees. The fruit will be sold at a cheaper price as compared to those fruit sold in the market. Okay, soalannya adalah pokok apa? Pokok naga. Pokok naga ke tadi? Ya. Okay. Pokok naga dan pokok pisang. Pokok naga dan pokok pisang, adakah dia biological asset? Pokok naga berbuah berapa kali? Adakah berbuah sekali lepas tu kita tebang ataupun berbuah beberapa kali? Tahu tak pokok naga?
Kalau buah tu tahulah, pokoknya tak tahu.
Pokok tak tahu, ya? Boleh Google lah. Kita tengok pokok naga, Tengok naga sekejap. Pokok naga, dragon tree. Model lain lah. Gambar ni kita kena tulis pokok naga. Okay, sekejap ya. Stop sharing. Sharing. kalau dalam Google dia tak boleh nak ni lah. Katanya share. Boleh nampak tak pokok naga?
Boleh nampak sir.
Boleh kita ada banyak pokok naga ni. Ni pokok naga. Pokok naga Dragon Tree lah. Okay. Jadi pokok dia tu macam tu. Buah dia banyak kan? Buah dia banyak. Kemudian pokok tadi. Okay. Syarat untuk menjadi property plant equipment, dia kena kena ada useful life of more than 1 year. Jadi kalau jangka hayat dia melebihi setahun, bolehlah dikira sebagai property plant and equipment. Jadi pokok yang belum berbuah, kita tengok yang ni, yang tak ada buah tu. Dan yang atas ni adalah pokok yang telah berbuah. Kita biasa nampak buah sajalah dekat kedai ataupun dekat pasar. Dekat pasar ataupun pasar malam nampak buah saja. So itulah dia naga. So kita boleh bayangkan naga ni adakah dia biological asset ataupun property plant and equipment. So kalau dia umur dia boleh melebihi setahun, dia boleh jadi property plant and equipment. Kalau kurang daripada setahun, tetapi saya rasa lebih daripada setahun. Macam mana pula dengan pokok pisang? Pokok pisang dia akan berbuah sekali saja. Dia akan berbuah sekali saja. Jadi pokok pisang adalah biological asset. Okay. Kemudian dragon fruit adalah agricultural produce. Kemudian banana tree adalah agricultural produce. Okay. Number 3, petting zoo. Agribis Berhad has a small petting zoo which is located at the heart of the fruit farm. The animals raised in the petting zoo are rabbit, sheep, parrots and ponies. The visitors of the petting zoo are charged an entrance fee that they will get the chance to interact with the animals. Expert trainers are hired to maintain the petting zoo and the animals. The animals are fed with high quality feed and are vaccinated to maintain their health. Okay, soalan dia. Rabbit, sheep, parrot and ponies. Are they biological asset or not? Are they biological asset? They are not biological asset. Walaupun rabbit, walaupun sheep tadi sepatutnya boleh masuk sebagai biological asset. Okay. Tetapi dia tak boleh jadi biological asset sebab apa? Sebab petting zoo. Petting zoo. The purpose for raising the rabbit, the sheep, the parrot and the pony is not for the apa dia? Bukan untuk dijual. Kan? Bukan untuk dijual. Tetapi adalah untuk petting. Okay. Yang terakhir sekali, fish farm. Agribis Berhad also involved in fish farming. The company is involved in fish breeding and responsible for growth of the fish. Currently, the company has several ponds which breed freshwater fish such as catfish, patin, tilapia and Javanese carp. Each pond is maintained by an expert that helps in raising the fish. Natured fish will be sold according to its weight and size. Okay, soalan terakhir, adakah dia biological asset?
Ya.
Okay, jawapan dia ya, betul biological asset sebab apa? Sebab dia adalah fish in farm. Fish in farm. Tapi kalau ikan tu dekat laut, kita nelayan, kita tangkap ikan di laut. Jadi ikan di laut tu adakah dia biological asset? Ikan di laut ataupun ikan di sungai, adakah dia biological asset? Jawapannya bukan. Bukan sebab we cannot control that particular fish. Ikan di laut, ikan di sungai kita tak boleh kawal kecuali ikan dalam sangkar. Ikan dalam sangkar ataupun fish farm. Fish in the farm we can control. Otherwise we cannot control. Okay, so cukup dulu untuk yang sebelum break ni. Kita akan break dulu 5 minit ataupun 7 minit, kemudian kita akan sambung. Okay. Okey, kita sambung semula dengan example contoh.
Sir,
Ya,
nak tanya boleh?
boleh.
Kan tadi kan sebagai contoh, yang contoh yang dekat dalam contoh yang sebahagi tu kan petting zoo. Saya kata kalau petting zoo which is the purpose dia adalah untuk attract orang. Yelah macam zoo lah kan. So maksudnya zoo tu tak boleh classify under MFRS 141. Tapi kalau haiwan tu tujuan dia untuk dijual?
Haiwan tujuan untuk dijual. Tapi kalau zoo tak dijual haiwan kan? Maknanya kalau tujuan untuk dijual, contohnya apa? Arnab. Boleh arnab untuk dijual boleh?
Oh, so arnab tu boleh dikategorikan sebagai biological asset lah?
Biological asset boleh.
Oh, okey, itu je. Terima kasih.
Okey, boleh sama.
Sir,
Ya.
saya nak tanya.
Boleh.
Saya nak kepastian lah. Contoh biological asset ni kalau macam kita tanam atau kita bela haiwan tujuannya untuk kita jual baru kita
Jual,
pricekan sebagai biological asset.
jual ataupun untuk kita dapatkan kita jual sama ada nak jual hidup ataupun jual daging.
Okay.
Ataupun susu.
So kalau macam susu, macam lembu tu biological asset. So susu yang kita nak jual tu adalah
susu. Kalau susu tadi
produce.
Susu yang belum diproses kita panggil agricultural produce. Maknanya dia jual susu terus kan. Contohnya macam ni, kita perah susu lepas tu jual terus. Maknanya kira lah timbang sekilo ke 1 liter ke terus jual. Itu dikira agricultural produce.
So kalau lembu tu akan dikira PPE ke biological asset? Biological asset.
Itu dikira sebagai biological asset.
Okay.
Walaupun mungkin lembu tadi boleh berumur 1 tahun, 2 tahun, 3 tahun, tapi dia biological asset. Tidak seperti pokok kelapa sawit, pokok getah, sebab nature dia lebih dekat kepada property plant and equipment.
Okay sir. Thank you.
Okay, welcome. Ada lagi soalan? Tak ada dah Okay, kalau ada pun tak apa lagi, nanti boleh tanya lagi. Alright. Kita teruskan dengan example ni. Illustrative example boleh nampak ya? Okay, illustrative example. Kita nak enlarge. How to enlarge the size. Tak ada pula kat sini. Okay, tak apa. Boleh nampak kan? Illustrative example. Okay. These examples which were prepared by the International Accounting Standard Committee. Okay. International Accounting Standard Committee. This example of how we put all the figures on biological asset in the statement of profit or loss, in the statement of financial position. Okay. Walaupun sebenarnya benda ni bukanlah satu yang rasmi, dikata bukan satu yang rasmi, they have been updated to take account of the changes made by IAS 1 presentation of financial statement. It's revised. Ni lama punya lah, tapi saya nak tunjukkan contoh tadi. Contoh ni supaya kita faham kita faham biological asset ni bukanlah sesuatu yang kita tidak pernah bayangkan sebelumnya. Jadi mungkin sebelumnya kita tak terfikirlah ada dalam statement of financial position ada lembu, ada kambing kan. Tapi sebenarnya ada. Sebenarnya ada. Okay. So, in the statement of financial position of example company XYZ Dairy Limited, You can see from here, in 31 December 20X1, 31 December 20X0, kita ada start dengan asset non-current asset. What are the non-current asset? The non-current asset adalah dairy livestock. Dairy livestock dairy livestock it mature, dairy livestock mature. Subtotal biological asset ada kat sini 425,050 untuk 2021, untuk 2020 149,800. Okay, nampak tak? Kat sini ada dairy livestock. Dairy livestock masuk dalam statement of financial position for 20X1, 20X2. Okay, ada mature, ada immature. Jadi yang mature tadi, mature maknanya telah boleh dijual ataupun telah boleh di slaughter, sembelih. Okay, kemudian barulah dia ada aset yang lain, property plant equipment. Jadi in term of presentation, we can put first the property plant equipment and then followed by biological asset. Jadi dia tunjuk kat sini biological asset dia represented by dairy livestock yang mature dan immature. Okay. Tetapi sebenarnya yang kita praktik sekarang ni, kita tak akan tulislah dairy livestock ni. Kita akan tulis biological asset. Dekat mana kita nak tulis dairy livestock ni? Okay, dairy livestock will be stated in the notes to the financial statement. Tapi kita nak tunjuklah betul dalam statement of financial position ada biological asset, on top of property plant and equipment. Okay, and then tengok pula dekat inventories. Some of the inventories comprise of produce ataupun product from the dairy, dairy product. Dairy product pun duduk dalam inventory kan, dairy product. Contohnya apa? Susu yang telah dipinkan, dia akan masuk dalam inventory. Okay, this is the statement of financial position. What about statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income? Okay, we can see from here. In the statement of comprehensive income, we have what? Okay, statement of comprehensive income or statement of profit or loss for the year ended 31 December 20X1. We can see that the first item is fair value of milk produce. Fair value of milk produce sebagai dia punya pendapatan. Fair value of milk produce. Itu adalah sale dia. Macam sale lah, tapi sebenarnya belum sale lagi. Fair value of milk produce when the milk was produced, when the milk was detached from the cow ataupun from the dairy, it can be recognized as revenue at fair value less cost to sell. Okay, fair value of milk produce. Secondly, what is the revenue? The second revenue is gain arising from changes in fair value less cost to sell of dairy livestock. The changes in value. If the value goes up, it becomes a gain. If the value goes down, it becomes a loss arising from changes in fair value less cost to sell of dairy livestock. Dan kebiasaannya dia akan meningkatlah. Jarang dia akan dapat fair value loss, tetapi fair value gain itu adalah biasa. Fair value gain biasa. Sebab umur meningkat. Apabila umur meningkat daripada setahun kepada 2 tahun, dia punya berat badan dia telah meningkat. Bila berat badan meningkat, value dia pun meningkat. Okay. And then apa lagi? Inventories use, staff cost, depreciation expenses, other operating expenses tu biasalah. Tapi yang saya nak tunjukkan di sini adalah the revenue of the company is fair value of milk produce and also gains arising from changes in fair value less cost to sell of dairy stock. Okay. Ini adalah contoh statement of financial position as well as statement of profit or loss and other comprehensive income. Okay, sekarang ni kita nak tengok satu statement of cash flow. Statement of cash flow dekat dia punya operating activities. Operating activities, direct method. Direct method. Okay, cash flow from operating activities. Cash received from sale of milk. Cash received from sale of livestock. Cash paid for supplies and to employees. cash paid for purchases of livestock. Okay, jadi nampak tak dekat statement of cash flow pun dicatatkan juga activity of agricultural activity ataupun biological asset activity. Okay, yang lain itu biasalah. Yang lain itu biasa. Yang kita tak biasa tengok adalah cash flow from operating activities that records received from sales of milk, sales of livestock, supplies, cash paid for supplies, as well as employees and cash paid for purchase of livestock. Okay, terusnya kita tengok satu example ni. Notes. Okay, notes. Operations and principal activities. XYZ Dairy Limited is engaged in milk production for supply to various customers. At 31 December 2001, the company had 419 cows able to produce milk. This is mature asset. Yang telah mature. Mature ni maknanya telah boleh menghasilkan susu. And 137 heifers being raised to produce milk in the future. Yang ni kita panggil immature asset. The company produces 157,584 kilogram of milk with a fair value of less cost to sell of 518,240 at the time of milking. Okay. Milking ni adalah semasa dia perah susu. Dia panggil milking. 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 Milking ni macam menyusu lah, tapi sebenarnya kita perah susu. Dalam bahasa Inggeris menyusu. In the year ended 31 December 2001. Itu operation dia. Accounting policy on livestock. Livestock are measured at fair value less cost to sell. The fair value of livestock is based on quoted price of livestock of similar age, breed and genetic merit in the principal market for the livestock. Milk is initially measured at fair value less cost to sell. At the time of milking, the fair value of milk is based on quoted price in the local area in the principal market for the milk. Itu nota on accounting policy. Kemudian biological asset. Reconciliation of carrying amount of dairy livestock 2000X1. Carrying amount 1st January 2000X1. Increase due to purchase. Gains arises from changes in fair value less cost to sell. Kemudian gains arising from changes in fair value less cost to sell attributable to price change. Jadi dia ada physical change, ada price change. Dan last sekali adalah decrease due to sale. Jadi pengurangan dia hanyalah satu saja disebabkan oleh sale. Bila kita jual, maka fair value akan berkurang. Okay, so carrying amount 31 December 2001 is 425050. Okay, itu tu. Note to the financial statement. Seterusnya, kita nak tengok satu example semana kita nak kira gain. Kita nak kira carrying amount dan juga gain untuk haiwan-haiwan ni. Untuk haiwan ni kita nak tengok. Jadi saya harap masa mencukupi untuk kita discuss example ni. Okey, tarik nafas dulu. Kita tengok soalan. The following example illustrate how to separate physical change and price change. Jadi fair value gain of the livestock can be divided further into two categories. The first one is price change and the second one is physical change. Separating the change in fair value less cost to sell between the portion attributable to the physical change and the portion of price change is encouraged but not required by. Jadi walaupun tidak diwajibkan oleh MFRS 141, tetapi kita buatlah supaya kita nampak maknanya mana lebih besar gain tadi, adakah gain because of price ataupun gain because of physical. Okay. A herd of 10 2-year-old animals was held at 1st January 20X1. A herd of 10. A herd ni satu gerombolan ataupun satu kumpulan 10 ekor. 10 ekor 2-year-old animal. 10 ekor haiwan yang berusia 2 tahun setiap satu. was held on 1st January 20S1. So how many animals that we have? We have 10 animals. The age is 2 years. One animal aged 2.5-year-old was purchased on 1st July, 6 months after that, for 108. And one animal was born on 1st July 20S1. No animals were sold or disposed during the period. Per unit fair value less cost to sell were as follows. Okay, number 1, 2-year-old animal at 1st January 2000S1 is 100. 2-year-old, seekor berusia 2 tahun, fair value less cost to sell 100. Next, newborn animal 1st July, the fair value less cost to sell is 70. 2.5-year-old animal at 1st July, 108. Newborn animal 31 December, end of the year, 72. Half-year-old animal 31 December, 80. 2-year-old animal 31 December, 105. 2.5-year-old animal 31 December, 111. And 3-year-old animal 31 December, 120. Okay. So kita ada semua data ni. Jadi apa tujuan kita? Kita nak calculate fair value gain based on price and based on physical. Based on price and based on physical. Okay, apa yang dikatakan sebagai price? Apa yang dikatakan sebagai price adalah physical tidak berubah. Bila kita kata price change, maknanya physical does not change. Price change means physical does not change. Jadi physical dia kekal. Kalau 1 tahun, 1 tahun. Kalau 2 tahun, 2 tahun. Kalau 2 tahun setengah, 2 tahun setengah. Kalau baru lahir lah. Itu physical untuk price. Jadi physical does not change but the price change. So, apa maksud price change? The price change because change in date. Change in date. Contohnya apa? We have the inventory on 1st January and 31st December. So we are comparing the price on 1st January and 31st December for the same age. The age does not change. Contoh di sini, age dia adalah 2-year-old. Age adalah 2-year-old. Kemudian on 1st January, the fair value less cost to sell is 100. 31st December, 105. 105. Jadi, fair value change. Fair value change untuk yang 10 unit. Untuk yang 10 unit tadi adalah 10 unit time 105 minus 100. What is 105? 105 is the fair value less cost to sell on 31st December for 2-year-old, and 100 is fair value less cost to sell for 2-year-old on 1st January. So we are comparing the price on 1st January and 31st December of the same age animal. 10 ekor, 2 tahun, price dia adalah 1 Januari compare dengan 31st December. So how much is the difference? The difference is 5. 5 times 10 equal to 50. Itu yang pertama, price change tu. Price change yang pertama. Okay, kemudian price change yang kedua. Apa price change yang kedua? Dia kata ada newborn. Newborn on 1st July. So the value of newborn is 70. The value of newborn is 70. How do we get the 70? 70 itu adalah second line tu. Newborn animal on 1st July is 70. So, age adalah newborn. Untuk yang kedua ni, age newborn. Maknanya age tidak berubah, tetapi price berubah. Price berubah. Apakah price berubah tadi? Price berubah daripada 1 Julai kepada 31st December. 1 Julai kepada 31st December. Jadi, 1 Julai dia punya fair value less cost to sell adalah 70. Dan 31 December 72. Ada berapa ekor? Ada 1 ekor. So So 72 and 70, the difference is 2. 2 times 1 is equal to 2. Dia punya gain adalah 2. Untuk yang 2 year old, price gain adalah 50. Dan yang ketiga, kita ada satu item iaitu apa yang kita beli pada 1 Julai juga. One animal was purchased. One animal was purchased on 1st July. Umur dia berapa? 2 tahun. 2.5. Umur dia 2.5 tahun. Okay, umur kekal. Okay, the age is fixed at 2.5 year old, but the date is changed from 1st July to 31st December. So we have to check what is the fair value less cost to sell on 1st July and what is the fair value less cost to sell for 31st December. Okay, according to the list, on 1st July, the fair value less cost to sell is 108. On 31st December, it is 111. Okay, so what is the difference between 111 and 108? The difference is $3. $3 times 1 equal to $3. So, fair value gain because of price is 50 plus 3 plus 2 equal to 55. Equal to 55. Okay, are you following class?
Yes, sir.
Okay. Okay, kalau follow kita pergi pada physical pula physical changes Increase in fair value less cost to sell due to physical changes. What does it mean physical changes? Physical changes maknanya perubahan umur. From 2 year old at the beginning of the year to 3 year old at the end of the year. 2 year old at the beginning of the year kepada 3 year old at the end of the year. Jadi kita menggunakan perubahan usia ataupun age of the animal. Okay, so age berubah daripada 2 tahun kepada 3 tahun. Okay, tetapi fair value less cost to sell, kita nak ambil yang mana? Is it on 1st January or is it on 31st December? To compare the physical, we are comparing the physical on 31st December. So we are taking the fair value less cost to sell for 2 year old and 3 year old on 31st December. 2 year old on 31st December, 3 year old on 31st December. So what is the fair value less cost to sell for 3 year old? 3 year old on 31st December is 120. 2 year old is 105. Okay, 120 and 105. What is the difference? The difference is 15. 15 times 10 unit. Equal to 150. Itu yang first one. Umur 2 tahun sekarang jadi 3 tahun. Because of the physical already changed, we are comparing on 31st December. 120 compared to 105. So we have a gain of 150. Second kita ada we purchase 1 unit. We purchase 1 unit. Berapa umur dia? 2.5 year old on 1st July. So on 1st July, the age is 2.5. On 31st December, the age is 3 year old. Sebab we are comparing the physical. Physical on 1st July is 2.5. Physical on 31st December is 3 year old. Jadi kita nak compare 2 year old, 2.5 year old and 3 year old. When to compare? 31st December. So we take the fair value of 3 year old on 31st December and the fair value of 2.5 year old on 31st December and we compare. The answer is 3 year old 31st December 120, 2.5 year old 31st December is 111. So 120 minus 111 equal to 9. 9 times 1 is equal to 9. Correct? 9 times 1 is equal to 9. Next, we have a newborn. We have a newborn on 1st July. So on 1st July is newborn. does the physical change at the end of the year? Adakah newborn tadi at the end of the year dia akan menjadi lebih usia dia? The answer is yes. On 1st July, it was half year. It was 0 year old. At the end of the year, it was half year old. So, physical already changed. Jadi physical change from 0 to 0.5. So, kita nak compare bila? Kita nak compare pada 31st December. Kita compare lah, ya. 0.5 year old and 0 year old, on 31st December. Jadi newborn on 31st December, 72. 0.5 year old is 80, 72 and 80. We compare 72 and 80, the difference is 8. 8 times 1 unit is equal to 8. 8 times 1 unit is equal to 8. And the last one. The last one is, we have one newborn. We have one newborn. Do we have this item on 30th June? Pada 30th Jun 20X1, adakah kita ada item ni? Lembu yang dilahirkan ni ada tak? Soalan saya, ada tak pada 30 Jun, ada tak kita anak lembu?
Tak ada.
Tak ada. 1 Julai ada tak? Ada tak 1 Julai? 30 Jun tak ada, 1 Julai ada. Jadi apa maknanya? Kat situ ada physical gain. Ada physical gain daripada tak ada, on 30 Jun tak ada, 1 Julai ada. Physical gain. Jadi kita dapat satu physical gain, kali dengan nilai dia adalah, fair value dia adalah 70. Jadi 1 times 70 equal to 70. Jadi nampak macam ada dua calculation. Sebenarnya memang dua. Ada dua physical gain. Yang pertama daripada kosong kepada ada. On 30th June, we don't have this. But on 1st July, yes, we have. Kemudian yang kedua, kita compare on 1st July until 31st December. Okay. Total physical gain adalah 237. Okay. Price gain, 55. Physical gain, 237. Okay. Kemudian kita tengok kembali ke atas. At the beginning of the year, the fair value less cost to sell at the beginning of the year, we have 10 times 100, which is equal to 1,000. And then we purchase 1 unit, berharga 108. Jadi ini adalah kita punya item, item in the carrying amount of the biological asset. We start with 1,000 plus 108. And then we plus the price change and we plus the physical change. Jadi at the end of the year, kita ada berapa? Carrying amount of the biological asset, kita ada 1,400. Kita ada 1,400. Okay. Dan 1,400 tadi, 1,400, tidak saya nak tuliskan kat sini, 1,400. Okay, saya akan tuliskan. Here, we have 1400. Kat situ kita ada 1400 ya. Okay, kita ada 1400 di situ. Okay, kita ada 1400, kemudian kita nak check betul ke kita ada 1400 carrying amount. Jadi kita boleh semak balik. At the end of the year, actually we have 11 unit. We have 11 unit 3 year old. Kita ada 3 tahun ni, kita ada 11 unit. 11 unit kali 120 sama dengan 1320. Okay, manakala kita ada seekor yang berusia 0.5 tahun. kali dengan 80, kita dapat 80. Jadi kita boleh buktikan kita ada 1400. Ya. Calculation di atas membuktikan ya, opening balance plus purchase plus price change plus physical change, we have 1400, and we can prove that the physical count that we have 11 times 130 plus 1 times 80 is equal to 1400. Okay. Jadi kita dah calculate tadi price change dan juga physical change. Okay. Boleh faham ya? Nanti kita akan cubalah buat soalan ya, untuk kelas yang berikutnya. Okay. Jadi untuk contoh, ini saja contoh yang kita ada. Dan saya cadangkanlah untuk awak tengok soalan kejap ni, tengok soalan test kejap. Kita akan share soalan test. Soalan test yang lepas tu kan, soalan test yang kita tengok intangible asset tu, kita boleh gunakan soalan test yang sama. Soalan test yang sama intangible asset tu. Soalan nombor 2 adalah soalan biological asset ya. Okay. Kita tengok saja soalan dia dulu. Nanti saya akan serahkan pada awak lah untuk menjawab dia dan kita akan bincang pada kelas yang akan datang. Ya. Okay, tengok soalan. Ini soalan dia. Question to Kebuku Berhad is a livestock and meat supplier company that was established 10 years ago, and among the farm livestock is the buffalo. Throughout the financial year ended 30 June 2022, the company sold 60 buffaloes. So on 1st July 2022, it has a balance of 30 2.5-year-old buffalo. Jadi ini adalah opening balance 32.5. During the year ended 30 June 2023, the number of livestock has increased as follows. On 1st July 2022, 30 newborn buffalo were purchased at 550 ringgit each. On 1st January 2023, 51-year-old buffalo were purchased at the price of 800 each. On 30 June 2023, 10 buffalo calves were born. No livestock was sold or disposed during the year. The following data on the fair value less cost to sell was provided for the year ended 30 June 2033. Required. Number 1, state whether the following statement are true or false. A. Biological assets are always classified as non-current asset on the statement of financial position. Changes in fair value of biological asset impact only the statement of financial position and not statement of profit or loss. And C. Agricultural produce is measured at the net realizable value if it is not practical to measure the fair value reliably. Number 2, explain the meaning of agricultural activity. And number 3. Number 3 ni yang banyak markah dia, 11 markah ya. 11 markah. Yes, 11 markah. Calculate the revenue from managing the livestock for the year ended 30 June 2023. Show all necessary working for the changes in fair value that's cost to sell due to price changes and due to physical changes. Okay. Jadi untuk kelas yang akan datang ya, untuk kelas yang akan datang kita nak bincanglah soalan ni. Okey. Kemudian apa lagi soalan yang ada? Prepare the journal entries for the purchase of newborn buffalo on 1st July and 30th June and compute the carrying amount of the biological asset as at 30th June 2023. Okey. Jadi saya naklah awak calculate ni ya. Of course lah untuk dalam soalan ni kita kena jawab semua soalan ya, tetapi kat sini saya nak minta supaya awak calculate berapakah price change ya dan juga physical change untuk buffalo ni. Okey kelas, boleh cuba ya. Dan kita punya kelas akan datang adalah pada hari apa?
Selasa
Hari Selasa insyaAllah. Jadi hari Selasa kita akan bincang benda ni lah. So, saya serahkan soalan ni pada awak dan insyaAllah hari Selasa kita akan ada jawapan penuh untuk soalan ni. Alright. Ada apa persoalan? Sebelum kita bersurai.
tak ada sir.
Tak ada. Ya. Okey, kalau tak ada, kita akhiri kelas kita pada hari ini dengan surah Wal-Asr. Bismillahirrahmanirrahim. Wal-Asri innal insana lafi khusr illa alladziina aamanu wa 'amilus shalihaati wa tawassaw bil haqqi wa tawassaw bis sabr. Assalamualaikum warahmatullahi wabarakatuh.
Waalaikumsalam. Thank you sir.
Thank you, sir.